Hey, it's H1. We talk about chess knowledge, chess knowledge, chess wisdom, chess understanding over here, and we're gonna be running it back with another episode. I know that was a crazy intro. I don't always get it perfect. Nobody's perfect, but I can promise you that I'm genuine, and we're just gonna get straight to the information. So just sit back and relax, and let's just get straight into it right quick. So, today we will be talking about pretty much every checkmate that you need to know in a chess game. And you need to get these patterns wrapped in your head. And once you get these patterns in your head, you're going to become a better chess player, baby. Because patterns is all about chess. Just think about a Rubik's Cube. A Rubik's Cube is all about algorithms. And patterns in chess is compared to algorithms with a Rubik's Cube. You need the algorithms to solve the Rubik's Cube, just like you need checkmate patterns to get checkmate. Make sense? Okay, let's get into it. There's like 33. I don't know. I forgot the number. Who's counting? I'm not. Let's get into it. So we got this first position right quick, right? We got this first position. And it might not be as simple, but when you think about it, it is. If you want to try to do the checkmates right off the bat, then you can pause it on each checkmate. But I'm just going to go ahead and just show you because it's more beneficial if I just go ahead and show you the pattern first so that when you come across it, you're Gucci, you're good. Okay. Yeah, we're going to just take that pawn, right? And this is called the Anastasius mate. The Anastasius mate. And we're going to take that, queen. And yeah. We got checkmate, right? You see the checkmate. The king can't go to g6 or g8, and that is definitely checkmate. The king cannot get out of that. Next one, the Anderson's checkmate. The Anderson mate. It's checkmate in 1, which is rook h8. Checkmate. The king is protecting the pawn, and the pawn is protecting the rook. Okay. The third one, the Arabian mate. The Arabian mate is just rook h7. Simple mate. The knight blocks the g8 square, and we're going to get that checkmate on the h7 square. Okay, next one. The back rank mate, right? This is a simple one that everybody should just know about. Just rook d8, just doing that simple checkmate. The pawns is just blocking up, blocking the squares that the king should be going to in this check, but, it's a sad mate that can be done to anybody, anywhere, at any time. Okay, the Balustra mate, the names really don't matter. So if I mess up the names, don't really care. What really matters is you seeing these patterns, right? I just want to get into it. So the Balustra mate. The Balustra mate, hit this move right here. Hit this diagonal because the only squares that the king could go to was the light color squares. And once this bishop hits that diagonal, it's all over because this queen is taking over the rest of the squares. So that is definitely checkmate. The Black Barnes checkmate. The Black Barnes checkmate. So we're already covering all these squares, right? And this dark square bishop is definitely going in. So all we need is just one more check on the king to get the checkmate. So this is definitely checkmate. Hitting the bishop. Hitting the king with the bishop, and the knight is protecting the bishop. Checkmate. No way to get around it. This is called the blind swine, right? The blind swine. You might see this a lot of times, but the king moves over. You move that rook over one more time, and then you move this last rook, and then this is checkmate because the rooks is defending each other. The king has no more squares to go, and they're pretty much trapped with their own rook. Right? And it's pretty disappointing that your own castle would do that to you, and that's why it's kind of bad to be in that position. And usually this happens when you be pushing all of your pawns in front of your king, so just avoid that. The Bowden's mate. And we already got this light color square bishop, right? We got this light color square bishop taking over all the light squares. And so the king can only move on our dark squares, and this g7 square is the only move it can make. So you probably guessed it, but It is bishop h6. Now, this is checkmate. There is no way to get out of it. The king and the rook and the pawn is definitely in the way. You can't stop that, homie. Okay, so now we got the corner mate. The corner mate. And this rook is taking over the G file, so all the king needs to do is, all you need to do basically is attack the king once, and you got checkmate, which this is that move to attack the king with that L shape, you know what I mean? That L-y shape, and you know who got that L is that king that's being checkmated, you know what I mean? A birder. The corridor mate, that's the next mate right here. So this is the corridor mate. We got the rooks on each file right beside the king, so the king can only move on the D file, which kind of sucks because the king is basically trapped. So once you do this move, queen d5, then this is definitely checkmate. You cannot get out of this at all since the rooks are helping. Pretty much overkill, but it does happen sometimes. You know, this is a quick mate to do. The diagonal corridor. This is the diagonal corridor. I've only did this a few times, but the bishop is right here on g8 and the pawn is right here, basically covering the light squares for the king. And this is very embarrassing since you have a pawn to promote, so you're basically winning. So for some reason, black didn't push up this pawn at all, and you just get this checkmate on this diagonal, which is pretty disappointing. I would look out for that one. This is called the Casio mate, or aka dovetail mate. Yes, I said it, dovetail mate. And we've seen this checkmate before, you know what I mean? And I made this mate board by myself, so the two bishops just awkwardly placed with the knight right here. So this is definitely the mate that I wanted to get across, was the queen b4 mate. And this is definitely covering all of the diagonals, the files, and the rank right here. And the king cannot get out of it at all. This is the Damanos mate, whatever. It's called that. And we're gonna just bring this queen to h7, just hit you with that checkmate right quick. The rook is always in the way of the king, and yeah, that's definitely checkmate. And this queen was just doing nothing over here. Now we got the David and Goliath mate. And the David and Goliath is called the David Goliath because I'm guessing that this is Goliath, and the one that is checkmated the king is David, since David was the short and weakling. But, you know, this pawn threw its stone and actually got the checkmate. Yeah. Good thing Goliath wasn't around for his forehead to be smashed with a stone. This next checkmate is called the Hippolyte mate, you know what I mean? And this these two rooks is basically this king downfall. Basically what we learned within the last few mates is pretty much not to have the rooks beside you when the game is basically over. So we got this queen b6 move, and there is no way black is getting out of this mate. And the black king is basically going to be crying to the rooks like, man, why didn't you move at all? This is super embarrassing. So now we got the original fool's mate every newcomer should know about. And this is the fool's mate that usually happens in about 2 moves of the game. And this is going to be probably one of the only mates where you pretty much have all the pieces still on the board. So we're going to bring this queen to h4, attacking this king. And voila, that is checkmate. The king cannot avoid this check at all. Okay, now we got the Greek ghost mate. We're basically covering this b8 square, and we're going to move this rook to a2 to attack the king and deliver checkmate. Nothing can defend or block, and the king can't run away at all. Now we got the hook mate, and we got this knight on g6 with the pawn defending the knight, and so the king's only square to go to is h6. Usually the checkmates come when the king only has 1 square to go to. So I would be looking out for checkmates if the opponent's king only have 1 square to go to. But the checkmate is definitely rook h8, attacking this h file, and the king cannot go anywhere, can't take the rook because of the knight that is defending the rook. Now we got the kill box mate. And yeah, this is the kill box mate. We got the queen and this rook hovering around. It would be very disappointing if they just move the king, and this would be definitely a draw. But if you do not want to get a draw, then rook h6 is definitely the move to go. The rook is being defended by the queen, and the king can't go to any other square without being attacked. You know, it'd be disappointing too if the queen went to h8, because you know the king could just take the queen because the rook can't defend the queen. It's not possible. So rook h6 is definitely a good side move right there. We're at the 19th checkmate. We're going to the 20th. We're almost there. If you made it this far, congratulations. This video is sponsored by Aim Chess. The description is down below. Okay. The lawnmower mate, right? The lawnmower mate, you dang there taking off all the grass, right? And these are definitely the lawnmowers, because the king can't go over here because the king doesn't want to step on your lawn that you already mowed. And pretty much we're going to bring the king, the rook from f1 to h1 to finish off mowing the lawn. And now we mowed off all the lawns. We finished all the way to A to H, and I'm guessing that's why it was called the lawnmower mate, right? Now we got the legals mate. The legals mate, you know, we sacrificed the queen apparently, and we don't have a queen anymore, right? So now we got checkmate in about 2 moves without a queen. If you do something stupid like capture this knight, then you would definitely be losing. But we got 2 moves right here. We're capturing this pawn. We move this king up, and then we get this mate right here. This is called the legals mate. Don't forget it. It happens as a trap in one opening. If you want to go over that opening, then put in the description down below. Not the description, the comments. There's still the comments down below. This is the lollies mate. My lollipop. Never mind that song. So the king is definitely have a long way to go, and yeah, we're just going to checkmate the king right quick, because the pawn is defending the queen, and the king pretty much can't capture the queen at all. So it is definitely a major, it's a major thing that the king can't get out of. So, yeah. On that note, the max lanes mate. The king cannot go to g6 at all because of the bishop, so the king is primarily trapped. And after queen g8, attacking the queen with the king, attacking the king with the queen, then yeah, you definitely got checkmate. This is called the Mayet's mate. The Mayet's mate. These 2 pawns are the king downfall, because after this move, the bishop is defending the rook, and this is definitely checkmate with the rook and bishop. The Mayet's mate, the AKA opera mate part 2, whatever. Same concept as the last mate, but the bishop is right here and the king is just a little bit on the outside still. So now we got the Morpheus mate. The Morpheus mate is pretty simple. We're taking over the b file, and now we're just going to attack the king, you know, just attacking the king on that diagonal, because the king can't really move anywhere else. It won't even allow me to move anywhere else with the king, and this pawn is definitely the downfall of the black king. Okay, this is the Pillsbury mate, and it seems like in this position black is up in material, but they are sadly mistaken, because white still have this checkmate right here on this b file, and the king can't move to AA because of this bishop right here, and that bishop is definitely doing some work. That's a good bishop right there. Man, if I ever had a good bishop like that, I want it to be that bishop. So now we got the red ties mate, the ready mate. And this mate is pretty special because it has to deal with this bishop and this rook still. The queen really doesn't matter. You would think that it might be like queen e5 or something, but nope. It is bishop d8, right? This is called the ready's mate. The king can go to b6, and the queen, the bishop, the rook, the 2 pawns is basically all black's downfall. This is why you should be always developing your bishops, knights, and rooks, so you don't get into any position like this. Now, the 29th move, the 29th checkmate, the scholar's mate, right? the Scholar's Mate. Let me get a drink of water because I've been talking for a while. Okay. And please rewatch this if you have to, because all these checkmates you should just know. You should just know. It's nothing. It's nothing that you shouldn't know. All these checkmates, all grandmasters know, or should know how to do it if it was presented to you as a puzzle. So this is Scholar's Mate. You don't take with the bishop, but you take with the queen to get that checkmate right quick. Scholar's Mate is something that usually all people know. Smothered Mate is a really good mate to know about just in case, because the rook and the 2 pawns is definitely the Black King's downfall. So you just do that knight F7 move, and you're pretty much good. You're attacking that H8 king, and that knight is doing some work right there. Yeah, that pony. The suffocation mate, right? You got the suffocation going on right here. We got this bishop on this long diagonal on that A1 to H8 diagonal, and the king just needs to be attacked once without blocking this bishop, and that is the knight E7 move. You definitely don't want to do knight F6, but knight E7 is the checkmate that you want to deliver to your opponent. 2 more checkmates to go. We got the swallow's tail mate, aka Garidian mate, right? We got this king out here for some reason, awkwardly. The king just decided to march up to the unknown, because I guess they was thinking that White has no plan to either checkmate or win this game. But sadly for them, you got that queen G5 move right there. You got that queen G5 covering up all the diagonals, yada, yada, yada. The king is definitely gone. They have no chance after that. You should just quit chess after that checkmate if you brought your king up this high for some reason. And then we got the last mate. It's called the Vukovic mate, right? The Vukovic mate, beautiful mate. I love it. I love doing this mate a lot of times just to be that person, just to be that guy. And sometimes I'm not that guy. And sometimes you don't have to be that guy. But I like being this guy to just deliver this fancy mate. The pawn is defending the rook. You can't capture. You can't move side to side because of the knight. And it's definitely checkmate. So that is pretty much all of the mates. And I know this might be difficult. And you might be like, why should I watch this, I don't know, 30 minute long video about checkmates? And I promise you, it's really important. And if you need to review this, then just come back here, and I'll always be here to just deliver you with this chess knowledge, chess wisdom, chess understanding. And I'm glad you can run it back with H1 one more time. So, on that note, thank you for picking H1 today, and peace! Aha!
Pressing on toward the vision, yeah. I see where we was, and I see where we going. It's no turning back. Pressing on toward the vision, yeah. Man, we choosing to get up and keep it moving.